Greetings YouTube, LMS Tactical here. I know it's been a long time and I want to give you all kinds of reasons, but I always seem to have more excuses than a gangster in a stolen vehicle. Whose car is this? Huh? Oh yeah, it's my friend's. What's your friend's name? Huh? Oh, his name John. Where's John live? Huh? Oh, I don't know. I thought he was your friend. I just met him. What's his last name? Huh? I don't know. You know, that's what I feel like, so I'm not going to give you a bunch of excuses. But I hope you guys are all doing well. Now, it's early in the morning for me, so got to have that coffee. I want to talk a little bit about little guns. So, maybe some of you still are thinking about buying your first gun. Maybe some of you are carrying a weapon, but you're not satisfied with it. Or maybe maybe you're just bored shitless and you're looking for a video to watch. I don't know, but let's get into it. First of all, I'm going to talk about my own feelings on little guns. Not a big fan. And the reason for that, or the reasons are actually many. And like I always say, don't take my word for it specifically. Make sure that when you're going to purchase a weapon or you're going to choose a weapon to carry, that's going to be, you know, a tool that potentially could save your life or the life of a loved one or somebody that's innocent. Make sure that you put some thought into it and that you test fire. You go out and you get some experience with these weapons, because what works for me may not work for you and vice versa. So yeah, there are a lot of little weapons, little guns. And I have had experiences with all of them in terms of carrying them and trying to figure out which ones worked for me and which ones were the good ones, and efficient and reliable. And reliability is a big thing. How little are we talking about? I mean, they've got some little weapons out there. This is a little over and under double barrel 38 caliber. And I don't have it loaded with real rounds. These are training rounds, and I do that because some weapons, when you dry fire them, it's not good for them unless you have something for the firing pin to actually strike against. So that's why I have the training ammo in there. So here we have a very small 38 caliber. I hope I didn't say revolver earlier, because it's certainly not a revolver. But the way this works, I mean, let's face it, this is what they used to call a belly gun. I mean, reminds me of the old, you know, the cowboy days, man, when gamblers would carry a weapon like this in their boot or under their hat, or who knows, up their ass. I don't know where they carried them. I wasn't alive then, contrary to what you might think. So the way this weapon works is you get 2 shots. Well, right off the bat, that makes it kind of a non-candidate for me, because I'm not confident enough that I can get the job done in 2 shots. The other issue is with the barrels that are this short. I mean, the range we're talking about is unbelievably close. I mean, I wouldn't trust this at a distance between, you know, anywhere beyond where my cell phone is that I'm using to record this. That's not much exaggeration. So in order to make this fire, this is a single action revolver. It means I've got to cock it first and then pull the trigger. And so I have to cock it, pull the trigger, cock it, pull the trigger to get 2 shots off. Is it reliable? Yeah, it's probably reliable in terms of the weapon will fire when you want it to, but there's an extra motion you have to go through. And again, you know, unless the guy's right up on you, I don't know, you better get it done in 2 shots or you're going to be feeling mighty stupid. I don't know why my little dog here is bugging me. This is my wife's dog, actually. Those that know that I lost my dog semi-recently. This is a little Pomshy. He's a little yapper. Oh, hi. How you doing, buddy? He's so cute. You guys want to see Buddy? I don't know if you've ever seen Buddy before. Oh, he's a good boy. He is. Yes, he is. Oh, he's a good boy. Yes. He's a little rescue dog. Long story. Sad story, but he's living with us now, so he's happy. So yeah, you know, why do I have this weapon? This is a good weapon. And, you know, the pros are that you can stick this in your pocket even if you're wearing a freaking thong, you know, if your thong has pockets. But again, I'm not the type of person that's going to rely on this as a primary source of self-defense. I have it because it's cool. Why would I not have it? I mean, if you're going to have weapons, you got to have cool weapons, even though you wouldn't carry them. Excuse me. The next one is this right here, and this is a little. Who makes this? This is a Taurus 22. It's 22 caliber semi-automatic weapon. I think it holds about 7 rounds. It's a neat little weapon. It's very concealable. Feels good in the hand. You can have your hand in your pocket and shoot right through your jacket pocket if somebody's robbing you at the ATM or whatever. But now we're going to talk about reliability. I will tell you that this is not a reliable weapon. I've shot it a lot, enough to know that I wouldn't carry this as a primary source of self-defense. It is very prone to jamming because, you know, this is a lot of metal for a little round like a 22 to have enough gas to work the slide on this thing, which is really very tough. This barrel pops open, and you can, you know, you can activate it a number of ways. That's one way to cock it, or you can fight with the slide and rack it. You got to be a weightlifter in order to rack it that way. There's a couple issues with this. Number one, the caliber is very small. A 22 caliber is deadly if it hits you, but it's a small round, you know. I mean, I wouldn't depend on this to save my life. This is fun to take up to the cabin and plink and then, you know, get frustrated when it jams. A lot of times it's just failure to cycle properly because, like I said, it just takes a lot of pressure. And the 22 round. Now, do they make weapons this size that are reliable? I don't have one, but I understand Beretta makes one. I can't remember the name of it, but it's one that I want to look into. And I think, you know, and this is a 22. I think Beretta makes a 32 caliber. I prefer to stay away from those small calibers because while the person you put 2 or 3 rounds into might eventually die or stop doing what he's doing, there's a real good chance that it's not going to stop them instantaneously, which is what I want to do. I don't want to stand around waiting for somebody to stop, you know, trying to shoot me or stab me or whatever. I want them to stop right when I pull the trigger, if God forbid I have to do that. So that's another option that I would stay away from. Now, there's a caveat to that, and I'll get to that in a second. Next is the tried and trusted revolver. This is a Smith & Wesson 2-inch 38, and it's a 5-shot, empty. And, you know, it's got the recessed hammer, and the reason that's like that, for those that don't know, is when you're drawing the weapon out of your pocket or out of your, wherever you've got it concealed, you don't want the hammer getting stuck on your clothing. So that's why some of them are hammerless, some are like this, where it's recessed. Where's the lens? I don't know if you can see that. The lighting is kind of bad. But pros and cons. The main pro of any revolver is it's always going to be reliable. When you pull the trigger, it's going to shoot. Always. Very, very rarely will you have a malfunction on a revolver. I mean, that's just my experience. Some of the negatives are you got a 2-inch barrel, so the accuracy becomes an issue. Remember, the longer the barrel, the more accurate the round, because it's got more time to begin its, you know, complete its rotations in the, you know, in the rifling in the barrel. So not much room here to get a good spin going. So you know, anything beyond 10 feet, 15 feet, could you hit something at 25 feet? Yeah, I have. You could hit something at 25 yards with this, no problem. I mean, if you practice with it. But here again, most of us don't have time or the money to go out and shoot as much as we should be shooting. So I do carry this from time to time. In the summertime, when I'm wearing shorts and flip-flops, or I'm going to go down to the river, I will carry this. But I also, let's see if I have them here. I probably don't. Oh yeah, so what I also do is I'll make sure I carry, you know, strips with extra rounds that I can put in my pocket. You know, so here I've got 2, which this gives me 12 extra rounds. You know, plus, so I got 12 plus the 5. And, you know, you got to practice reloading this thing. If you're under stress or you're under fire or you're injured, you better know how to do this. So this is an option, and it doesn't have to be a Smith & Wesson, but any 2-inch revolver is a good option. You know, if you're looking for a small weapon, the round is not bad in terms of stopping power. It's certainly, in my opinion, better than a 22 or a 32, or even a 9mm for that matter. Next, what do I have? Here's, speaking of Beretta, this is a Beretta Cougar. Not a tiny weapon, but what's cool about this is a 45, it's empty. This is a 45 caliber semi-automatic. So this packs a punch. This is a nice weapon. I don't carry it as a rule, and it's got the decocker too. And for those that don't know what a decocker is, when the hammer's cocked, you can decock the weapon without the round going off. That's what this little lever is here. So I don't carry this one as a rule. There's a story behind that. When this weapon first came out, I had to have it because it was a new weapon that Beretta was putting out years and years ago. And what I found out is it's not a good idea to shoot reloads out of it. I had a malfunction, and without getting too technical, there's a cam in there, so that part of the functioning, the cycling of this weapon is a rotation as it's ejecting the spent brass and cycling, you know, chambering the next round. So there's this rotation action, and I got one of the reloads stuck in there, and it rendered the weapon completely useless. I mean, it took us about an hour to get it out, and we ended up having to put the weapon in a vise and hammer the barrel with a padded piece of 2x4 to get the cam to rotate the opposite direction, which allowed the screwed up round to get out. Bottom line was, had that been a shootout, I would have basically rendered this to be just nothing more than a hammer. Lesson: don't shoot reloads out of these things. You know, or don't carry reloads when you're depending on your life, unless you reload them yourself. You know, that was a stupid thing where I bought a box of reloads, and you know, I was younger, and you live and learn. But that left me with a bad taste. I mean, when a weapon has a total malfunction, I like to know how to clear it and be able to clear it fast. And something that takes an hour to clear is a fun weapon to shoot. But don't let me, I don't mean to badmouth the weapon. This is just my own personal experience, and I have opted to carry the Glock 23, which is what I carry. This is empty. And you guys have seen, those that are subscribers have seen this weapon before. This is what I carry my everyday. This is a subcompact 40 caliber. So I like this because it's sort of the compromise between a 45. You know, it's bigger than a 9mm, but smaller than a 45, so that you get a little bit more capacity. And it just, you know, I think the 40 caliber is a very nice round in terms of stopping power and you know, penetration and whatnot. Of course, it all depends on what type of ammo you carry, but that's probably another video. So yeah, the Glock 23. You know, if you're looking for a reliable weapon that has a good punch to it, has a nice capacity, I would hope that you would check out the Glock 23. Now here we have the tried and true 1911 45. You guys, almost everybody knows about this. Empty. Everybody knows about the 1911 45. I've had this for years. I paid $50 for this back in like 1985. $50. But you know, I've changed the grips out on it and everything. But there are people who will rightfully say that this is probably the best weapon out there. Well, why don't you carry it, Mike? I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I don't carry the 1911 because I don't feel safe with it. in terms of my ability to operate it effectively and safely. And what I mean by that is, and I'm so inexperienced with it that I may say something wrong, so just feel free to correct me politely because I'm sensitive. Let's say that, so when you carry this weapon, as I understand it, you put your mag in, you rack the round, and the firing pin is resting against the primer of the round that's that's in the chamber, which is dangerous. You bump into it, it'll fire. So you carry it half cocked, that's what the term half cock comes. So this way the hammer is off the firing pin, and it's a form of safety. There's all kinds of safeties on this weapon. You got a grip safety, you got the half cock. There's other safeties that I've forgotten about because I don't carry this. But carrying the weapon half cocked means that when I draw the weapon, I've got to finish the cocking into full cock, and then I fire the weapon. Okay, and it slides and it recocks itself. When I'm done, let's say I'm done and I still have a round in the chamber. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the only way to make it safe is well, you have to have the grip safety. So you have to let the hammer down slowly, and I'm always afraid it'll slip and the slide will come back and my thumb will be pointing in the wrong direction. So I don't know, man. I think that and maybe I'm wrong, but I believe they have 45s now that are in the 1911 configuration that have decockers on them. Somewhere in my mind, I think I've seen that. But as far as this goes, this is a piece of history. I love it. It's a great weapon. It's fun to shoot. It feels perfect in your hand. I mean, if you haven't carried a 1911, if you haven't held one, you got to do it. They just feel really good. And it's always been on my list of to-dos to familiarize myself with that weapon and maybe become a 1911 fan, and maybe start carrying them. So what I'll do is I'll end it. I'll try and end the video by reminding those of you who've heard it and saying to those of you that are new to the channel that be careful when somebody tells you what weapon to carry. Oh man, I would never carry a Glock. A Glock's a piece of shit. Man, these weapons here, these are perfect. Remember, the best weapon for you to carry is the one that you can hit your target with. If you are the type of person, man or woman, big or small, and you can only hit targets with this, and you just can't hit them with this, guess which weapon you should be carrying? You should be carrying this one. If you're comfortable with it, you know how to use it, you can fire it, reload it, clear the malfunctions, and hit your target, that's the weapon you need to be carrying. Nobody else should be telling you. They can make recommendations like I'm doing. I'm recommending that you consider things like reliability, the size of the round, the capacity of the magazine, and those kind of things. The concealability, if you're going to carry concealed, which I assume most of you would be. Some gigantic weapons are awesome, but you can't conceal them. So what's the point? If you're trying to conceal your weapon, you got to have one that you can conceal. So just be careful of people telling you what they would do and focus on what you would do. And I hope that you found this video a little bit useful. I hope you guys are all doing well. I wish you another Happy New Year for all of you. And yeah, stand by for some more videos. LMS Tactical, I'm out.